Okay guys, today's tutorial is going to be on the 7 principles of the Constitution. And if you're using your journal, you want to go to page 44. And we worked on that foldable that explained the 7 principles of the Constitution. In the back, I also have one of those anchor charts that we worked on where everybody worked on a different principle, a different pillar. The pillars represent the foundation of the United States government. So without these 7 principles, our government will kind of crumble, just the way the building would crumble without these pillars holding it up. So let's go ahead and get started. The first principle of Constitution that we're going to talk about, is going to be separation of powers. What is separation of powers? Separation of powers is basically power divided into 3 branches of government. Remember that under the Articles of Confederation, there was only one branch of government, and that was Congress. And it wasn't working out. They definitely agreed at the Constitutional Convention that 3 branches were necessary. And what are the 3 branches of government? That's going to be the executive branch that enforces the laws, the legislative branch that makes the laws, and the judicial branch that interprets the laws. The second principle of the Constitution that we're going to go ahead and talk about is going to be checks and balances. In order to prevent each one of those branches from having too much power, they all have to check on each other. That is the system of checks and balances. One cannot do one thing without the approval of the other. So this is going to be able to help prevent any branch of government from obtaining too much power. The next principle of the Constitution is popular sovereignty. What is popular sovereignty? The P in popular sovereignty is going to stand for people and power, because popular sovereignty is basically the principle that says that people have the power in the United States. And how do we know that people have power in the United States? Because they have that opportunity to vote. They are able to make their own decisions within the government because they are able to vote. The next one is going to be republicanism. What is republicanism? The R in republicanism stands for representative, because this is the principle of government that tells us that we can elect a representative to represent us in Congress. We can't all go to Congress to make laws. We have to select someone to go and represent us in Congress, and that is known as republicanism. The next principle of government are going to be your individual rights. Those are individual rights that people have and that are protected by the government. This is what those anti-federalists were pushing for at the Constitutional Convention. They refused to sign the Constitution unless there was a Bill of Rights. They wanted to make sure that every citizen would have their freedoms in case the national government decided to take over too much power. The individual rights are also known as your Bill of Rights, and those are going to be those first 10 amendments that are going to be added to the Constitution in 1790. The next principle is going to be limited government. What is limited government? Basically, the government only has certain powers. They cannot do whatever they want. We got this idea from the Magna Carta back in 1215 when they limited the power of the king. The government cannot take it upon themselves to pass any laws or to take excessive power without the other 3 branches. So they want to be able to limit the power of the government. The last one is going to be federalism. How are you going to remember federalism? The F in federalism stands for friendship. And what do good friends do? They share. And so therefore, federalism is the sharing of powers between the national government and the state government. So hopefully this little mini tutorial helped you out. And make sure to go over your 7 principles, because they will come out in a test in some way, shape, or form.